Hello and welcome to Smash Writing. And today draws the end of our Hellraiser ride. There's been ups and downs, pleasures, and so much pain. And we're ending it with yet another Hell Priest. Can Jamie Clayton come in here and show that there can indeed be a movie in this franchise without Doug Bradley at the helm? Let's dive in and check that out, shall we? This movie kicks off in Belgrade. You get a woman named Serena buying a wooden box from the sky. Pretty clearly. They don't show it, but it's pretty clearly going to be the Lament configuration inside of it. And we jump back to Massachusetts. We get a man named Joey. Serena kind of gives him a little bit of direction to head back to the back room where he finds the Lament configuration, but it's much longer than what we're used to. It's a different shape. And we meet a guy named Roland Voigt, and he kind of talks Joey into opening the puzzle, solve the puzzle for him. And Joey starts solving it and gets stabbed in the hand when the little blade shoots out of it. And they come for Joey. But the box reshapes, reconfigures again into a diamond kind of deal. And Voigt takes it and he puts it up on a pedestal, and he requests the attendance with the god, Leviathan. And we jump 6 years, I believe it is, 6 years ahead. And we meet Riley. Riley's in the middle of an intimate moment with Trevor. That's interrupted when Trevor admits his love for her. And she's not fond of that, so they stop, and she's walking him out in the living room. And to a big group of people who are waiting in the living room. And you get nervously, we meet her brother Matt, roommate Nora, and Matt's boyfriend Colin. And you get a little bit of an uneasy, attention-filled moment because obviously they've been listening into him, which they confirm when Trevor shows himself out. But Matt and Riley get into a bit of an argument. Riley is a recovering addict. I believe she's on her 6-month coin kind of deal. And she swears she won't see Trevor because Matt doesn't like Trevor because Trevor is a recovering addict too. And he doesn't want them becoming dependent on one another because if one falls off the wagon kind of deal. She promises she won't see Trevor again. So the next scene, she's at Trevor's house. And Trevor very coyly manipulates her into agreeing to go do this B&E job with him at this shipping container kind of deal. And inside of it is a safe. Inside of the safe is the Lament configuration. And she takes it home with her on Trevor's request. Like, keep it with you, and I will see how much money we can get for this box. When she gets back home, her and Matt get into a big argument because she's drunk. And he ends up kicking her out. And she drives to this park area, and she finds some pills in her car. She tries to resist, but she does cave in and takes a handful of the pills and starts playing with the puzzle box. She solves it, but she doesn't get stabbed with the blade. The blade misses her hand. But they come, and she starts seeing them as she's on like this hallucination mode kind of deal from the pills. And you hear the voice say, "That blade was meant for you, but maybe you can get us another." And she kind of hallucinates connecting with Matt through these chains. And it wakes him up, and he automatically leaves the house to go find her. He knows something's wrong. And he finds her nearly passed out on the merry-go-round. And he grabs a box out of her hand. It stabs him in the hand. So when he goes into the bathroom to get cleaned up, they come for him. And she goes to follow him screaming, but he's already gone. No sign of him. She does call 911, and they can't find him, and they're not really going to look for him either because he's not a missing person yet. Her and Colin get into a bit of an argument because Colin's like, "Well, what do you remember?" Because she doesn't remember anything because of the pills. And he's in his rage. It's like, "I told you not to leave," and she storms out and goes to Trevor. And they're getting intimate again, and again, they're interrupted by her hallucinating one of the Cenobites. They start talking. She explains to him about the box and what has all happened. And he wants nothing to do with this box. "Do not hand me that box." And he actually believes her. And they do a bit of research, and they come up with Serena's name, who's living in this assistant living house, and her lungs are shot to shit and going bad. And she panics the moment she sees the box, and she's like, "No one was supposed to go touch that box." And she kind of explains that box led to bad things happening and Voight disappearing. And they learn out Voight has been gone. No one knows what happened to him 6 years ago. But her and Riley get into a tug of war match over the box because she wants to just go seal it back up in the safe and forget it's ever existed. And Riley wants it because she knows that that's the key to her getting her brother back. But in their little tussle, she inadvertently solves next configuration and it stabs Serena in the hand. And they leave, and soon after, they come for her, Serena next. And so Riley's doing a bit more research. She's looking into Voight, finds a mansion he owns and the disappearance and all the weird things he was up to at the house. And Trevor informs her Serena's missing now too. And that's when they're interrupted by Colin calling her. And Colin wants to reunite with her and start looking for Matt. He can't do it alone. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he just wants to do this together. Meanwhile, Trevor's trying to sneak out with the box. And she runs him down like, well, I trusted you and you're trying to run out and get rid of this box. I need this box. So she goes off alone to the mansion. And the mansion is entirely enclosed in this iron cage design area. And she has to search around the perimeter to find an access point to get into it. And she's got all these switches that controls the gates and the doors. And she finds an office that has most of the lore and what she'll need about the box in the office. And there are 7 configurations. And whoever's holding it at the final configuration can ask the god Leviathan for a request. And while she's explaining to Colin about that, Trevor has gone off to use the bathroom, and Nora kind of goes off when the door pops open, and she gets stuck behind the walls. And someone, Voight, stabs her in the back with the box to set up the next configuration. And they're coming for Nora now. And they make the best of trying to run away with her, but there's nowhere to run, and they get her. And we really get a great look at the new Hell Priest. So we've seen glimpses over here and there, and we hear some voice clips, but we get the Hell Priest in this scene, and Jamie killed it in this scene. It was amazing. And the next scene, too, whenever Nora's gone and everything, they stop the car, and Riley's about to throw the box into the river to get rid of it. And the Hell Priest shows up and no, don't do that. No. We need you to get 2 more. And Riley's kind of arguing with her about it. She's like, I don't, no, I'm not doing this. So the Hell Priest moves or flicks her finger and causes the box to stab her, which gets all the Cenobites after her. So now she's either going to find 2 more or they're going to take her. And it's a Chatterbox chasing after them. And it traps her and Trevor behind the gate door. And she comes up with the idea of stabbing Chatterbox with the blade. And they actually take Chatterbox as the next sacrifice. And it was amazing. And you get a little scene, a moment where it's fixated on the Hell Priest too. For a very brief moment, you see just the slightest smirk on her face. She's proud. She's like, oh, good job. No one's ever thought about turning it up tables on Cenobites like that. And she's almost proud that Riley figured it out. But they managed to lock themselves in the mansion, and they learned that they can't get through the gates. As long as the iron gates are sealed around the house, they can't get in. But Trevor had been injured by Chatterbox. So now they got to try to figure out how to get out of the mansion. And they come up with the idea of going out and once again stabbing one of the Cenobites with the box, which will put the final configuration in Riley's hands, and they're going to bring back Matt. But while they're planning that, Voight comes into the room with Trevor, and it turns out Trevor has been working for Voight the entire time, and this was all planned. Trevor was just supposed to use the box and sacrifice Riley, and then start sacrificing people on Voight's behalf, because he has this giant device sticking out of him, and it's pulling on his nerves. But so back with the main plan, Trevor's going to operate the doors. And they lure one that's bound, their flesh is bound together in a real tight fit. and real slow walking until it gets trapped inside, and where it just rips itself free and chases after her. And she does manage to get to a hiding spot behind a cage, but she drops the box. And Colin goes to pick it up, but it's gone. And Voight comes out of nowhere and stabs Colin with the box. And he's like, okay, Trevor. And everything is exposed here. And what happened to Voight was he chose sensation. There's a word for it. I can't remember it. I'm not going to try to find it. But he wanted sensation. So they stuck a box through his chest. And every minute or so, it works the nerves. And it does just enough so he'll never not be able to feel the box inside of him and the nerves being plucked. And he's going to use the final wish to make them undo this. But he has Trevor open the gate to let them in to come collect Colin. Colin runs off. But when the Hell Priest makes it to the hall, Voight closes the doors and seals the Hell Priest in. And he's like, you're just going to fix this for me. Because I'm not going to waste my wish on this kind of deal. And you're just going to fix it, or I'm not letting anyone out. And while that's happening, Riley sneaks out of her hiding spot and opens the doors. And runs off to go find Colin while the Hell Priest is talking to Voight. She's like, we don't take back gifts, but if you wish to exchange a gift, that can be arranged. And he changes his from sensation to Leviathan. And this giant first the device comes out of him and he thinks he's back to normal, and then a giant hook comes down from the sky and sticks into him and starts sucking him out of the room. Meanwhile, you have Riley. Colin's been captured by one of the Cenobites and is about to be ripped apart when Riley enters the room. And Riley reminds the Cenobite that the Hell Priest gave her the box, and it's still hers to wield and hers to choose, which excites the Cenobite. She's like, all right, so you want to swap? Pick someone else. And she stabs Trevor with it. And Trevor is ripped apart and sucked away. But that now leaves the final configuration in the hands of Riley. And Riley helps Colin upstairs before going to confront the Hell Priest one last time. And she wishes for nothing. She accepts that her brother is gone. He's not coming back. And there is nothing that the Hell Priest has to offer that would be any good. Every wish she'd make would be twisted and perverted to some degree, and is much better off with Matt just being gone. And the Hell Priest awards her with the Lament configuration. Nothing will happen to her. She's free to go, but she will be free to live with the knowledge and regret of not having brought her brother back, and the possibility of maybe it would have all been fine. We get the final moment of lingering on her as she reflects back on what just happened and if she made a mistake or she made the right choice. Before we go to Voight one last time, becoming a Cenobite under Leviathan forever. And that is Hellraiser 2022. Damn, this was a good movie. This was a really good movie. I really like the fact that Trevor is so loving and caring, and you get a little suspicious of him to the point of like, oh, is he in on this? But then he like gets that big bite out of himself, and you're like, oh, he really does just care. But then I go, no, he's a lying bastard. That was like really fun, like subversion, because they did so many different things in this movie, especially with like the final Riley not quite being the traditional final girl here, but she absolutely kills it in this role. And having all this power, so you'd think that, are they bucking the trend? Is the boyfriend really just a trusting, loving guy here who wants to help and wants to believe her? Like, no, of course not. But Trevor was a really good character, all in all. The gore in this movie was amazing. The death scenes were great. I loved, with Nora, you see the needle the pin going through her throat. You get that inside shot of the throat and the windpipe just being pierced. It's cool. You get the spiraling thing of flesh again, but with the flesh stretched out like it's drying. Like it's like, oh, the gore, the atmosphere, all of it. Excellent. Well done. I love the building of the box, because in Judgment, we saw the box was largely ignored. In this one, they stepped into the box, and they were like, let's add on to this box. Let's make it several different configurations. And you can request something if you can solve the box. And it's not just about letting them out. It's about actually solving the puzzle. All of which I thought was real great, real fun way to build on existing lore. You have wormed yourself into a very uncomfortable position for all of us. Thank you for that. I'm going to butcher the hell out of your name, but I apologize ahead of time. Odessa Zion? She killed it as Riley. But let's talk about the Hell Priest. The big change. Jamie Clayton playing the Hell Priest. I know it had some uproar when this movie came out. And I didn't care about that. Because it's like the book, you couldn't actually tell which gender the Hell Priest was. Even the characters in the book mentioned they had no idea if they were standing here staring at a man or a woman. It really doesn't matter. And you know what? Jamie absolutely crushed this role. She made it so damn good. She not only filled the shoes, she morphed them into a character all on her own that could stand with Doug Bradley. The way she held herself, the emotions. She had little micro expressions through like little smirks here or there and little coy. Let the tiny little minute emotions come out, and it added so much everything she did. Her cadence, the way she spoke, the soft spoken, she didn't scream or yell, just spoke matter-of-factly, added, was just really great. And she had some great lines too. She's especially when she's giving that final dialogue about the lament configuration choice and the fact that you're going to carry the weight of your decision for the rest of your life. And the way she talked to handle to Riley. And I love the fact that those two got so much time together. They had multiple scenes together. It all worked so well. The Cenobites kicked all the kinds of ass. It's been so long since I got to say that about the Cenobites, but the Cenobites played such a major role. They just weren't background players. You had, I think they called, I've seen the people call her Gasp, the one with the stretched out hood over her head kind of deal. She was a threat unto her own. She's talking trash and talking to people and communicating, and her lines were great. Her aesthetic looked great. Chatterbox looked great for the first time in a long fucking time. Chatterbox looked great. There was another one, that one who was like a fleshed-in condom kind of deal, looked great. There's another one who just like split into like 6 different parts. He looked great. She looked great. Whatever. Oh, the Cenobites mattering again just made this so much good, so much better. I have no real flaws either. It's a 2-hour movie and it's well paced out. The death sequences were all good. I liked the character arc Riley went through. Like, you had a good ending where you got to see Riley and Colin both walk away from this, but Riley's changed by this, and I want a sequel. I want a sequel to this movie. Give me more Jamie Clayton. Bring back Riley for one more run. S tier movie. Well, I got to. S tier movie. It's a great movie. I think it gets better on rewatches. And that is why we're ending Hellraiser. I was going to do a ranking for the series next, but me and Paulie talked about it. Paulie wants to get in on it, so we're going to move the Hellraiser ranking to October and be our big Halloween ranking that we're going to do this year. So I apologize for the giant space between the final review and the ranking, but we want to do this as a group. But don't worry, I'll be back soon with the next movie series coming up. I hope you enjoyed Hellraiser. I hope you enjoyed this review series. I look forward to bringing you the next one. Okay, bye-bye.